You're at your desk trying to start a report that's due tomorrow, but the ticking of the clock seems to drown out every coherent thought. Meanwhile, your attention is inexplicably drawn to the intricate patterns on your coffee mug. An hour goes by, and you've not written a single word. You wonder, why is this happening? Well, there might be more to it than meets the eye. Today, we're embarking on a captivating exploration into the world of Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD. So, if you've ever wondered if ADHD could be part of your story, yet found the well-known symptoms just didn't match up, this revelation might just have you on the edge of your seat. Fasten your seatbelts. It's time to delve deep into the world of ADHD that you might not recognize. Unraveling ADHD. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, is a name that may stir images of restless children, fidgety teenagers, or individuals labeled disruptive. However, we're here to shatter those stereotypes, to redefine what ADHD truly means. ADHD, a neurodevelopmental disorder, isn't just a childhood issue. It doesn't discriminate between age groups, equally capable of affecting adults as it is children. And no, it isn't about being unable to sit still or daydreaming during an important meeting. This disorder paints with a broader palette, creating a spectrum of symptoms that reach far beyond hyperactivity or impulsivity. Among these symptoms is inattentiveness, which can often be a silent, subtle adversary, not as readily noticeable as its more prominent counterparts. You might be wondering why you're focusing on these lesser-known aspects of ADHD. The reason is simple: understanding. Comprehension is the first step toward empathy, acceptance, and effective strategies for managing ADHD. It's crucial to understand that this condition isn't defined by a single attribute, but rather a complex interplay of behaviors and tendencies. Now, armed with this understanding, let's turn our detective lens to the lesser-known signs of ADHD. Sign 1: intense focus or hyperfocus. Let's kick things off with our first hidden sign, intense focus, or what we often refer to as hyperfocus. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, isn't ADHD all about a lack of focus? And you wouldn't be wrong to ask that. It's a common misconception. But ADHD is more like a pendulum that can swing from one extreme to the other. Imagine this: you're in the zone, engrossed in a video game, a book, or a project you're passionate about. The world around you ceases to exist. Time becomes a mere concept as you plunge deeper into the task at hand. Sounds familiar? This can be hyperfocus. Hyperfocus is like a tunnel, where the task at hand is the only thing that exists. It's an all-consuming state where hours feel like minutes, and while it might sound like a superpower, and occasionally it can be, it also has its kryptonite. You see, when someone with ADHD plunges into the depths of hyperfocus, they often lose sight of everything else. The world outside the tunnel fades away. Essential tasks may be neglected, deadlines might zoom by, and relationships could take a hit. It's like being adrift in the vast ocean of focus, unaware of the shore. But it's not all doom and gloom. By recognizing this sign and understanding its intricacies, we can learn to harness hyperfocus, to steer its incredible power in ways that can work to our advantage rather than our detriment. And it's also important to note that mental illness is always number one deviation from the mean of our society, and number two, causing functional problems. Even though you may deviate from the average of our society, it doesn't mean it's a problem if it gets in your way. Sign 2: trouble getting started. As we venture further into the often overlooked nuances of ADHD, we stumble upon our second hidden sign: the struggle to get started. It's not merely the universal human tendency to put off tasks or procrastinate. Oh no, it's a whole different beast. Imagine standing at the foot of a colossal mountain, gazing up at the daunting peak. You know you need to reach the top, but the sheer scale of the task leaves you paralyzed, uncertain of how to even begin. That's what it's like for someone with ADHD when faced with a task. It's not laziness or apathy, but a debilitating struggle to find a foothold, to muster that initial push. This struggle is often tied to the challenge of organizing thoughts, battling the feeling of being overwhelmed, or even grappling with the very concept of where and how to begin. It's like standing in front of a jigsaw puzzle with 1,000 pieces all scattered and chaotic, unsure of how to make them fit together. However, this sign, like hyperfocus, is a double-edged sword. When individuals with ADHD do manage to initiate a task, their unique approach and perspective can lead to innovative solutions and fresh insights. often thinking outside the box in ways that others might not consider. Sign 3. Sensitivity to noise. The journey continues as we uncover our third lesser-known sign of ADHD, sensitivity to noise. Picture this scene: a bustling cafe, the coffee machine hissing, chairs scraping, people chatting. To most, it's just background noise. But for some with ADHD, it's like each sound is vying for their attention, creating a symphony of distractions that's hard to ignore. This sensitivity isn't about having superhuman hearing. Instead, it's an offshoot of a state often experienced by those with ADHD, hyperarousal. In this heightened state of awareness, everyday noises can become more pronounced, more intrusive. Consider it like this. While most people's brains may treat background noise like a gentle stream, flowing without causing much disturbance, an ADHD brain might perceive the same noise as a roaring waterfall, impossible to ignore and overwhelming to experience. A ticking clock, the humming of a refrigerator, or even the distant drone of traffic. These everyday sounds can take center stage, disrupting focus and sometimes leading to intense irritation or discomfort. Recognizing this subtle sign can be key to crafting a more comfortable and productive environment, whether that's investing in noise-canceling headphones, choosing quieter spaces for work, or using white noise to mask distracting sounds. Sign 4. Rejecting sensitive dysphoria. Our exploration deepens as we arrive at our fourth sign, rejection sensitive dysphoria, or RSD. It's a mouthful, isn't it? But this term is simply a formal name for an emotional response that is intense, deeply felt, and often triggered by a perception or fear of rejection, criticism, or failure. Imagine this scenario. A friend cancels a lunch plan, and instead of shrugging it off as a simple schedule conflict, you find yourself spiraling into a whirlpool of negative emotions, questioning your worth and the value of your friendship. This intense emotional reaction is what we're talking about when we mention RSD. RSD isn't exclusive to ADHD, but it frequently plays a supporting role in the lives of those with the disorder. It's akin to an emotional allergy, where seemingly benign interactions or events can lead to feelings of distress that are far out of the proportion to the situation at hand. This hypersensitivity can cause individuals to perceive slights where there are none, to fear criticism so much that it stifles their creativity, or to wrestle with feelings of inadequacy that stem from the fear of failure. It can be like walking a tightrope where every step feels precarious, teetering on the brink of emotional upset. Recognizing RSD can be a game changer. It shines a light on these intense emotional reactions, providing a better understanding of their origin. This awareness can lead to more effective coping strategies, from cognitive behavioral techniques to emotional resilience building practices. Sign 5. Chronic lateness. We've reached the final stop on our investigative journey with the fifth subtle sign of ADHD, chronic lateness. Now, we all run late from time to time due to unforeseen circumstances, but for someone with ADHD, punctuality often feels like chasing a mirage, constantly out of reach. Imagine having every intention to be on time, to meet that deadline, or to turn up to that appointment. But despite the best laid plans, time seems to slip through your fingers like sand, leaving you scrambling in its wake. That's the challenge of chronic lateness faced by many with ADHD. It's not about carelessness or disrespect for other people's time. Rather, it's often linked to a concept known as time blindness, an aspect of ADHD that makes it difficult to accurately estimate the passing of time or to foresee how long a task will take to complete. Combine that with the other symptoms we've discussed, hyperfocus, trouble initiating tasks, and distractions from noise, and you have a recipe for lateness that often leaves those with ADHD feeling frustrated and misunderstood. But as with every other sign we've explored, understanding this aspect of ADHD paves the way for adaptation and improvement. Techniques like time management strategies, digital reminders, and structured routines can all help in battling chronic lateness. We've journeyed together through the lesser-known territories of ADHD, shedding light on the subtle signs often overlooked. Our understanding has deepened, our perspective broadened, but remember, this is just the beginning. That's all for today's exploration. If you found this video enlightening and want to continue uncovering the mysteries of the mind with us, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Until our next journey, stay curious, stay informed, and keep the conversation on mental health going.